From a 16-year-old media savant to world-famous transportation magnate, let's look at how Richard Branson made his billions. Number 9. English origin. Born to Edward and Eve Branson in 1950, the highly successful tycoon Richard Branson began his journey to fame and fortune in the Blackheath district of London, England. His father was a barrister following in the footsteps of Branson's grandfather, the Honorable Sir George Arthur Harwin Branson, with a career in the law sector. His mother Eve was a ballet dancer, air hostess, and entrepreneur, the last of which would inspire Richard's ambitious nature. He and his two younger sisters enjoyed a good education. However, Richard struggled through much of it along with dealing with dyslexia before dropping out at the age of 16. Number 8. Journalistic drive. While still in high school, Branson began pursuing various entrepreneurial efforts. He first tried to grow and sell his own Christmas trees, but that didn't work out. He also attempted to sell pet parakeets, or budgies as they're called in England, but this endeavor also fell flat. The third time was the charm, though, for a young Richard Branson, as he finally found success with his magazine, Student. His first issue supposedly garnered $8,000 in advertising revenue, making his business an overnight success and inspiring him to leave school to focus on his burgeoning business. The magazine featured interviews with hit musicians of the era, like Mick Jagger of the Rolling Stones, catapulting his publication into prominence. In just a year after its official launch, Branson had an estimated net worth of £50,000, the equivalent of £800,000 today, all while still just a teenager operating out of a local church. By the age of 19, Branson had begun using the magazine as a medium for his next lucrative venture, selling popular records by mail at a price lower than the average record store. Number 7. Record label launch. In an effort to meet a demand that Branson connected to personally, he began Virgin Mail Order Records, offering records to the public for less than most well-known outlets. Keeping up with the success of his rapidly growing magazine and mail-order empire, Branson would eventually open his own record store. Unfortunately, this got him into trouble with the law as he came under fire for selling records that had been declared as being purposed for exportation. He never faced charges, though, instead agreeing to settle fines, a task that required his parents to remortgage their family home. But after this hiccup, it was smooth sailing for Branson, who took the earnings from his record store to start his own music label titled Virgin Records in 1972. Just 1 year later, he would earn his first $1 million when Mike Oldfield, a musician signed to Virgin, would release the record Tubular Bells, which went on to sell more than 5 million copies. Branson would enjoy continued success as he signed edgy, controversial artists of the period like the Rolling Stones, Ozzy Osbourne, and the Sex Pistols. In a decade's time, Branson would go from a teenager with a magazine company to the founder of one of the top 6 music labels on the planet. Number 6. Diverse expansion. Following the sudden prosperity of his efforts, Richard Branson would refocus his efforts towards new passions with the capital he raised through the music industry. After treating himself to the purchase of his own private island in 1979 for $180,000, he invested his money in both literary and visual media with the development of Virgin Books and Virgin Video in 1981. But these were just the first steps in a marathon of establishing new businesses, amassing 50 different companies under his label, generating $17 million in sales annually by 1983. Things really started to take off for Branson, though, after an inconvenient flight cancellation. With plans to visit Puerto Rico, the business magnate chartered his own private flight upon hearing his scheduled flight was canceled. Seeing an opportunity, Branson went on to offer seats to other passengers in a similar situation in exchange for a small fee. This would foreshadow Branson's 1984 partnership with lawyer Randolph Fields in the creation of Virgin Atlantic, an airline company with a focus on customer service and in-flight amenities like ice cream, seat-back video monitors, and body massages. Number 5. Airline troubles. Virgin Atlantic was the first company, other than British Airways, to offer long-distance flights from the United Kingdom to regions like North America, Asia, and the Caribbean, after British Caledonian merged with British Airways in years prior. This meant an uphill battle for Branson's new company, as British Airways had a virtual monopoly on international travel to and from the UK and these destinations. To keep up with the building expenses of Virgin Atlantic, in 1992, Branson sold Virgin Records to label conglomerate EMI for £500 million. This didn't cease the difficulties of breaking into the airline industry, though, as British Airways would meet their new competitors with a supposed campaign of dirty tricks. Virgin Atlantic would go on to publicly accuse their rivals of hacking computers, leaking stories to the press, and poaching passengers. British Airways settled the dispute with a payment of £3 million in legal fees, £110,000 to Virgin Atlantic, and £500,000 to Branson, all of which would be distributed to his employees as a bonus that year. Number 4. Enter the mobile era. As mobile phones began to really catch steam heading into the turn of the millennia, Branson was quick to hop aboard the cellular train with the creation of Virgin Mobile in 1999. The wireless communication service saw marginal success in the early 2000s, but in 2006, Virgin Mobile became the latest bargaining chip for Richard Branson. Looking to take advantage of the various resources owned and operated by the recently merged British cable, broadband, and phone company NTL Telewest, Branson sold Virgin Mobile to the company for £1 billion. He remained a part of the resulting new conglomerate, though, which was rebranded to Virgin Media in 2007. It was the first media business to offer 4 different facilities to users in the form of cable, television, internet, mobile phone, and fixed-line phone services. Though the new company became an immediate powerhouse in the media industry, Branson gave up much of the control he once had. He went from owning and operating 75% of Virgin Mobile to becoming a 15% owner of Virgin Media. But the £1 billion he earned in the process probably made the loss quite a bit easier. Number 3. Aiming for the stars. Ambition is at the foundation of nearly all of Richard Branson's accomplishments. But none of the billionaire's pursuits would prove as ambitious as the 2004 establishment of Virgin Galactic, a spaceflight company with the aim of developing vessels capable of space tourism. He created the newest company by partnering with aeronautical engineer Burt Rutan, who would also work with Branson to create the Spaceship Company, a business that would provide ships for their flight plans. Originally, Branson announced the spaceflight business would be ready to launch its first flight into orbit by the end of 2009. However, that prediction has run into a number of mishaps, causing continued delays. After being set back for years, Virgin Galactic would begin running test flights by 2010, utilizing the new Spaceship Two vessels. However, in October of 2014, on the 4th test flight of the company, disaster struck. An in-flight anomaly caused the ship to break apart in mid-air, sending debris plummeting back down to the sands of the Mojave Desert. Its replacement, the VSS Unity, has so far shown greater success in getting Virgin Galactic closer to its space tourism destination. In 2018, the spacecraft successfully reached a height of 51.4 miles off the Earth's surface, reaching a velocity that tripled the speed of sound in the process. Number 2. Philanthropy and public service. Initially founded as the Healthcare Foundation in 1987, the charity organization founded by Richard Branson would be renamed Virgin Unite in 2004. Its main focus was initially on tackling HIV and AIDS relief efforts, but has since expanded to combating malaria, tuberculosis, poverty, and homelessness. In 2007, he started the Virgin Green Fund to begin investing in various companies across the United States and Europe that were researching renewable energy. Branson was able to raise $199 million for the fund with his team. However, they chose to focus on 10 established businesses, rather than the thousands of startups pursuing the same interests. But this only lasted until 2014, before being closed down. Branson also runs the Branson School of Entrepreneurship, which supplies disadvantaged students in locations like Johannesburg, South Africa, and Montego Bay, Jamaica, with an education in starting, owning, and running their own business. This project has helped teach thousands of children in underprivileged situations find a path to success, an accomplishment especially near and dear to Branson's heart, as his own struggles with school caused him to turn to entrepreneurship. Number 1. Celebrated billionaire. Through all of his accomplishments, Richard Branson has earned massive acclaim over the years. Despite dropping out of grade school, Branson earned an honorary degree of Doctor of Technology from Loughborough University in 1993. He was knighted by Prince Charles in 2000 at Buckingham Palace and inducted into the International Air and Space Hall of Fame that same year. He's received numerous awards from universities and organizations and ranked among the most influential in publications as well. And given how he built his body of work from nothing at the age of 16 to the empire it's become, there's sure to be many more honors to come. Check out this next video that you might find interesting. And thanks for watching. Have a wealthy day.